All right. Y'all, we got a running truck. This is actually really, really bad. There's actually no hardware possible. First, starting at one side. Well, it's a new day and I have some new ideas to try. We're still not sure exactly what our problem was, but assuming it was a clogged fuel filter or a frozen check valve in our feed line right here, at this point we think our problem is just that the system needs bled. There's possibly air in the injectors, there's definitely air in the lines. When we blew this out last time and tried to stick a rag in the filler cap, we had some fuel come out the bottom of the fuel filter or the water separator at the drain, but then we just had air. So what I'm going to try to do today, I got another 5 gallons of diesel. There's already 5 in here. So with 10 gallons total, we're going to pull the return line out of the tank, put it back in our empty gas jug, and then we're going to pressurize this tank with an air fitting. I robbed this off of one of my paint guns, and I have a 1/4 inch pipe fitting. This is going to thread straight into the tank over here at the return line. The return line is going to fish straight into my empty 5 gallon jug. So we're only pressurizing the feed side of the fuel system. This regulator, I'm going to set to about 5 PSI. So we only put about 5 pounds in this fuel tank. From what I can tell online, that's about all this tank is actually rated for pressure wise. Right here at the air bleed or pressure release valve, whatever that's called, in the top of the fuel tank, I'm just going to put a plug in so we can build pressure in the tank. So with that plugged, feeding air into the return side of the tank and letting the return line from the fuel pump go back to the gas jug, hopefully we're going to pressurize just the feed side of the fuel system on this truck since there's no lift pump, and that should help us get the system bled. I'm going to try to do some bleeding without the truck running, then we'll put batteries in and see what happens with batteries in the truck and with it cranking. Just in case we did overpressure the system, there is an overpressure release valve on this fuel cap. So worst case we overpressure, we're not going to blow the tank up, this valve will just pop. All right, I'm putting our fuel jug underneath now, and I'm going to run the return line back into it. Okay, let's pull this T-fitting out the top now. T-fitting is out. It's clean, or clear anyway. So what I'm installing, this is a pressure regulator off of one of my paint guns, and I have a 1/4 inch male pipe adapter both ends with a quick connect for my air hose. So I'm going to plug the compressor straight into this so the compressor manages my pressure in the tank. That way I can go bleed lines at the fuel filter and at the injector pump. What we were calling the governor earlier, I'm still calling a fuel pump. Injector pump, that's what I mean when I talk about that unit on the front left side of the engine. So this is going to manage pressure in the tank. I've got and then I have a catch can underneath for the return line. But let's get this installed. I'm going to put just a little bit of Teflon tape on this. Teflon tape is actually not needed on the top side because that's a conical fitting. Facing this where we can see the regulator gauge. I actually need to take the Teflon tape off of this side of the fitting. It's not allowing this to go on. Not everything needs Teflon tape. All right, that's on and tight. Last thing we need to do is plug this. With that line loose, we can pull this fitting off now. There's a little pinhole in the very middle of that. I'm just going to imagine this doesn't allow fuel to splash out, but it allows the tank to equalize air pressure. If the temperature gets hot and the tank starts to increase pressure inside, it's going to let that pressure out. At the same time, it's going to allow air in to displace the fuel that the truck is using to run. Boy, we got lucky too, and all the fittings that we brought today so far have fit. I did cheat a little bit and I brought a few fittings. Still though, living in the middle of nowhere, it's really nice when what you have on hand works. So the fuel cap is on, and it has an emergency pressure relief in the top of it. So if we overpressure that fuel tank, the fuel lid should release pressure before the tank has an issue. We have a one-way check valve that's going to allow fuel out of the tank. This pickup is down in the fuel now. Part of the reason I put another 5 gallons in is to make sure we didn't suck the tank dry depending on how much this returns while we're up at the front of the truck if it starts to run. Or before we put batteries in, let's go ahead and just pressurize this and see if we can get fuel to return, or get fuel at the fuel filter, or get fuel at the injectors. Let's see how much we can bleed before we put the batteries in and try to crank it. I'm not sure if that injector pump is going to allow fuel to bypass through it or not. We'll find out. I'm going to connect this as quick as I can. Then I'm watching my regulator here. It's currently set at about 12 pounds. As soon as I have air on it, I'm going to set it to about 5 pounds, hopefully. That's too much. I can already feel the cap bleeding off. So the cap is bleeding off, holding it about 18 pounds. For some reason, this is not wanting to go less than 10 or 15 pounds. Okay, my gauge is not working properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some air to this. Right now there's no air flowing, so my gauge is clearly not working. But what I can do, I can feel air bleeding out the cap. So let's turn this on to where there's just a little bit of air bleeding out the cap. I can feel air bleeding out the top. So that's going to hold it about 18 pounds. I'm going to leave that there, and let's go see if we can get anything to come out at the fuel filter or at the injectors. We jumped back under the truck. Let's see if we get any fuel coming out here. I hear air, that's good. A trickle of fuel. I'd like to see more fuel than that. I may have to go turn up the air pressure. Oh, I heard air. I'm not sure why we would not be pushing fuel into this right now, unless it can't pass through the injector pump without the truck cranking. Let's try going topside and see if we can get fuel at the lines where they go into the injector pump. This is our bigger line, so I'm going to say this is the feed line. We we've had this off once already. I may try, let's bleed it as far back as we can. I'll put one wrench on the bottom here. If we crack this, we'll know if we're at least getting fuel to the pump. Not seeing anything. I'm going to try adding some more pressure to that tank. We've got a little over 20 pounds in that tank now. And I have fuel coming out this fitting. That's fantastic. That's a good sign. Let's go under and see if we can get anything at the filter again. After bleeding the lines up top, we're checking the filter again now. Small stream. I almost suspect that injector pump needs to be running to allow anything to pass through it. Which means the truck would need to be cranking, since it's a mechanical injector pump. We know we have fuel to the injector pump now. We could try pulling a return line. It might be time to put batteries in and try to crank the truck. If we crank the truck with pressure on the feed side, maybe it will self-bleed. Here's our batteries. We ran them dead trying to start last time. Let's get them put back in. Hot on this side, ground on this side. So a hot battery goes right here, or a hot terminal. Goodness. This is a 24 volt system. So what that means, we have a hot terminal that goes on the battery. I'm gonna have a jumper that crosses negative to positive, and a negative ground terminal that goes back to the truck. I'm gonna connect these to each other last. Connect our hot back here. I'm not entirely confident in my battery chargers, so I'm hoping these are hot enough. Otherwise, we'll have to run to town and get them charged. Let's add some pressure to the tank, go crank the truck and see what happens. If the truck does start to fire, I'm gonna shut it right back off. I may let it run for just a second. I don't know how much it's gonna recycle, and I don't wanna overfill our catch can with the return. So if we can get the truck start to run, I'm gonna shut it off. We're gonna get everything hooked back up properly, and hopefully the system will be bled. It's okay to say a prayer. I read online somewhere, hold the pedal to the floor. Fuel shutoff is right here. Well, at least we have batteries. I'm going to give the starter just a second for a break. I just looked underneath, opened the petcock on the fuel filter, and I got a really steady stream of diesel for just a moment. So that's encouraging. It means we are flowing some fuel. I've got about 20 psi of air in the fuel tank right now. Try this one more time and then we'll go look at our fuel tank for the return. I smell fuel. There's nothing in our catch can yet. It almost started without the accelerator pressed. Awesome. All right, we've got a running truck. And it's idling. I'm not sure how much fuel it's bypassing. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and kill it, set up the fuel tank like it's supposed to be. There's nothing more exciting than starting a truck for the first time that has not been run in a while, especially when you've got problems on it. How cool. This air gauge worked out really well. That must be a one-man operation. We didn't bypass as much fuel into that diesel tank as I expected. It ran for about 30 seconds, and I bet you there's not half a gallon of diesel in that diesel tank underneath in the gas can that I brought. That's aligned right there. Like that. Get our line shoved in tight. There's just a little copper crush washer inside there to seal that up on the vent tube. It's a vent, that's what it is. It's a vent tube. Now we know, folks. All right, vent tube is on. Don't see that coming off. Vent tube is on, return line is on. Batteries are connected. Fuel cap for safety. All right, we heard it fire. The truck's all put back together. No Band-Aid air pressure in the fuel tank. Y'all, let's go see if this truck starts. All right. Come on, baby. Come on. Yep, come on, come on. All right. Y'all, we got a running truck. Man, there's nothing more fun than bringing a truck back to life or hearing an engine run for the first time or for the first time in a while. There's just nothing like it. Let's see if we can idle. Wow, we even got an idle. Goodness. We've got oil pressure. Tachometer works. Man, y'all, this is just too cool. Air's pressured up. All right. You know, there's always that point in the project, especially when you're trying to get something running, you think you just might not get there. You tell yourself, I've done it before, we can do it again if you keep with it. Hopefully figuring out this system, how it worked on this truck, will help you guys get your trucks running too. Next phase on this truck, we're gonna try getting all the tires aired up and make it where the truck can roll. We might get to drive it for the first time in years.
Raised in the rust, built tough as nails, where the wind cuts sharp and the weak boys bail. I felt the dirt, I've tasted steel, but I ain't never bowed and I never will. Got a backbone carved out of red clay pride, and a fire that don't quit when it's tested or tried. You can bet your last dime and your name on a stone, this fighting heart don't break it owns. I was built for this, for the blood and sweat, for the long shot odds and the no-name bet, for the nights that burn and the mornings rough, for the pain that pounds but ain't ever enough. Yeah, I'm cut from the grit, from the hammer and hiss. You can't stop what was born for the risk. I'm not just standing, I exist, 'cause I was built for this. When the storm rolls in, I ride that thunder like it's born.
Hey, hang on. What are the chances it's a left-hand thread? It might be.
What?
Hit it,
Which other way?
yep. Yep, okay, because of the driver's side. Some of these old rigs, they put left-hand thread on the driver's side so it tightens the lug as you roll down the road.
You can't shake what was made like this. I don't flinch, I persist, 'cause I was built for this. Hey, 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 hey. Call it crazy, call it fate, but I was born to shoulder weight. Let the world try knocking me down, I get up and shake the ground. For the burning blast, for the mile-long run and the shadowed past, for the tears to fight, the faith I keep, for the dreams.
Keep spraying. Keep spraying. Go again.
Now, let's not do too much. Try that. What's that do? Suck it in? Huh. Did we get it? You got it. Wow.
We're getting on video.
Yeah, it's recording. I'm the sorry sucker that ran off camera. Pretty close. All right, guys, it's been 5 or 8 years. We're thinking 8 years since this truck has seen the light of the day. We've got 5 out of 6 tires on it and the back axle chained up. Let's see if it'll start for us and show it some daylight. right, seatbelts on. Maiden voyage. Well, I say seatbelts on. We're missing the other side. No seatbelt. All right. This truck hadn't been driven in at least 5, maybe 8 years. Brake off. Put her in drive. Check it out. Beast mode. Wow, what a truck. It actually steers pretty easily. My goodness, I feel like I could drive over absolutely anything. Everybody needs an Army 6x6. I'm gonna say that's low range. Let's pull over real quick and see if we can find high range. I go to neutral. Let's see if any.
It was all the way up. It was all the way up.
When it was parked in there?
Yes.
Okay, let's try that. Yeah, that's better. That's it. All right, we found high range. I had to pull this lever all the way back to the seat and then just a little bit further. Yeah. All right, let's head out onto the highway. We have found high range. Wow, how cool. Ride's a little bit rough, but hey, it's a monster truck. Wanders just a little bit, but that could be because we're missing one of our back tires. Y'all, this is super cool. First time out in 8 years. So we came and started it the first time. It ran for a couple of minutes, it died. Figured it was a clogged fuel filter. Came back over and put a new fuel filter on it. Tried to start it, ran the batteries dead. Tried to pressurize the fuel system by blowing compressed air into the inlet of the fuel tank with a rag as a plug. That didn't work. Came back over, pressurized the fuel system by pulling the return line, and sure enough, plugging everything with hot batteries. Finally got it to start. And here we are driving this truck. We just got to work out tires now. What a truck. What a truck. This has been a fun project. I never saw myself driving this truck. It's been parked over there as long as I can remember. It's always neat to bring something back from the dead. If you liked the video, hit the like and subscribe button. We'll have a lot more like this. We're gonna work on this truck some more. We got other stuff like it. Thank y'all for checking out the channel.